Savage.
What's going on? How are you, savages? Welcome to another episode of the podcast. Good to have you guys here. It is I, Papa Jeff, Daddy Savage, the one, the only, your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your learner, your teacher.
It sounds like
your
enemy. Chinatown.
That's it. I'm going to be your number 52 with extra rice. I'm also here to bring you the finest purveyors of comedy, the peddlers of mirth, if you will. I can only do that because of your support at patreon.com/Savage Snowflake. If you want to donate as little as $1 a month, head over there, become a friend of the podcast. I really would appreciate you. I'll send you dick pics, whatever you need. Butthole pics, if you go whole $5 a month. $20 a month, I'll show you the inside of me with an endoscope. It's going to be great. Thanks very much, of course, to our podcast sponsors as well. We got manscaped.com. If you are a hirsute gentleman like me, you want to keep your downstairs tidy, yeah? Don't let your basement get a little bit overgrown. Trim it down, keep it fresh, keep it nice. Adds an extra inch, gents. And let's be honest, some of us desperately need that extra inch. On top of that, you'll never nick yourself. It's got SkinSafe Technology, so only one side of the blades are metal, the other one is a patented material. You'll never cut your or nick your balls in any way, shape, or form. Also, use code SAVAGE. You get 20% off all products. You're going to get a free, beautiful leather travel bag and free shipping on every order. Code SAVAGE, manscaped.com. And of course, Boundless Tech as well, the finest purveyors of vaping technology. If, like me, you like to smoke a little drugs every now and then, it's all right. They're legal in this state. It's fine. Then you can do so. But don't burn them. Don't get the carcinogens. Don't ruin the taste by setting it alight. Instead, vape it. Use the Terra, the CF710, or any of their other incredible range of products, and you will get all of those beautiful terpenes, all those beautiful flavors, all those right cannabinoid levels that you want with the right heating as well. Battery life incredible. It's perfect. Check it out. Boundless Tech, bndlstech.com. Use code SAVAGE for 25% off all of their wonderful merchandise. Okay, there we go. That's all the shout-outs. Into the podcast now. Joining me today, most relaxed looking guest I think I've ever had.
First of all, I just want to say that product you mentioned is not for me because
the lawnmower 2.0 to trim the old balls.
I like nicks and cuts on my balls. And then I put a little bit of aftershave, a little cologne,
kosher salt. Surely a little kosher salt, and just rub it into the wounds.
What are you? That's crazy shit.
Yeah.
No. Just a little just stuff you find in the bathroom.
A little ointment.
Yeah, and then I like to sting for hours.
Scream. Screaming.
Because I also like brain freeze. I love when you get that, you soak up a
I can't tell if you're being serious now.
I'm being 100% serious.
At first I thought it was a bit.
I'm being 100% serious.
And now I'm genuinely considering that Paul Provenza, by the way, my guest today,
I love a brain freeze.
Comic legends, living legends.
Oh, that is such a.
Is that a nice thing to hear, or is that does that just say old to you?
I feel a need to say your words, not mine.
It's not just my words. A lot of people consider you a living legend of comedy. You've done some pretty epic things over the course of your career.
Well, that's very kind to hear, and I got to be honest with you. That at some point in my career in comedy, I said to myself, all I care about is the respect of other comedians and artists.
That's a terrible. That's you'd be infinitely more successful if you didn't have that outlook.
You are 1,000 million gajillion% correct.
Yeah. Can you pay your rent with respect points?
Well, that's the thing, I put away a little bank.
I think you'll find my rent doesn't go up next month because I am a living legend.
Yeah.
I have the paperwork.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, how much is the subway?
Isn't it funny? Because this is what we were talking about before we started recording today. We talked a bit about every facet of the industry and just enjoying the fact that you can do some very prolific things and it can have no effect, or you can do some very mundane things within it and all of a sudden you're selling out Madison Square Garden.
It ultimately is, a lottery. We were talking about this before, that we both know countless people who are talented and smart and terrific at what they do, and some of them are making an okay living, but there's far more by the thousands of people who should be at the highest levels of their careers.
But they're still kind of living month to month.
Right. Now, that doesn't mean that the people who are, celebrated that way don't deserve it either. A lot of them are really fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But
Larry the Cable Guy, let's be honest. Come on. It's just highbrow humor.
Fuck you, man. That guy is hilarious.
Is he funny? I've actually, you know what? Never seen him.
He's hilarious.
Is he good?
He's hilarious. It's just you either get on the train or you don't. It's like Carrot Top. When people give Carrot Top shit, I'm like, fuck you. If you're the kind of person that likes that kind of stuff and finds it funny, and I think it's a little churlish not to, he's amazing at it. Yeah. So it's like,
bear in mind, I'm also the kind of person I understand the subjective nature of art, so if someone goes to me, blah, 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 and I don't like that comedian, I've seen them and I don't enjoy what they do, but they're making a room full of people laugh. Yeah. I will always say they're very funny. It's not my particular humor, it's not my taste, but they're very funny. So I'm sure Larry the Cable Guy, to be as big as he is, he must be good at what he does.
He's really funny.
But isn't it the kind of shit I feel like I've never seen?
And it's a character, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, it's like Dice Clay, right?
So, yes, except Larry the Cable Guy is really not in the least bit inflammatory. I mean, he's just being a funny comedian.
Oh, okay.
Andrew Dice Clay chose a character.
So he's not divisive. His comedy's not... Because he looks like a hillbilly southern... redneck, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
you're like, is he going to be out there going, "Hey man,
you think everybody
when
that
you're
looks,
black guy, comes over and you're get the gun, honey"?
Do you think that everybody who looks like that is that person?
Like 97% of them.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's not true.
No,
it was so much easier to believe that. That's not true. That's the great thing about doing comedy.
But everyone who wears skinny jeans and has glasses and haircuts,
they're all Russell Brand.
We're all soft, flouncy wankers, and that's a true generalization as well.
No, it isn't. Shut up.
Yeah, it is. Come on, man.
Come on.
We're all categorized by how fucking obvious we are.
Sure, we are. We're all projecting something. We all choose to project something, whatever. And sometimes we're projecting who we are, but being judged for it.
I didn't realize we get this deep 7 minutes in.
I don't even like what we're talking about. Why are we talking about this? I'll tell you why. That
marijuana
blunt
legalized.
was a work of art. It took you like 20 minutes. You had little scissors. You were doing like...
But it was nicely rolled, isn't it?
It was a work of art.
Thank you, man. I've got really good at them. At least if I die like in the next few years, people will be like, all right, well, he did all right in his career. All right. But he rolled a fucking mean blunt, mate. Did you see that?
I think that's a fine epitaph.
He was pretty good at what he did, but those blunts.
And you know what? Shared them with everybody.
Yeah. I do like giving weed to people.
That's the thing about
drug
marijuana. That's the thing about marijuana. Is that right? Like if you experience the marijuana culture, and that could be everything from having a couple of edibles now and then to with a serious problem. No, if you experience that, what you walk away with is like everybody just wants to share.
Yeah,
like nobody's hoarding marijuana.
Do you find share marijuana? Yeah,
yeah, and they want to share the vibe, and they want to share. They want to chill. They're not looking for conflict.
It is quite nice. It's not the kind of drug where going like, have some, man. That's like a nice thing. It feels good to give a couple of tokes of your weed away.
Yeah, it's like sharing a good meal.
Whereas cocaine is the kind of drug that makes people go, no, you know what I mean? This is mine.
Yeah, it's a big, it's just interesting. It's just interesting. Yeah. And I came to marijuana very late in life. I was 40 the first time I smoked pot.
Really?
Yep.
Fuck, man, I can even imagine you as like
I came up in the fucking 70s and 80s.
I was going to say, I
was in high
see you
school.
as like a big acid guy and mushrooms guy.
Never did any of it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Never did any of it. Never, to this day, I've never tried
Is that
cocaine.
Because what? Because you had religious parents?
No, not at all. What it was I became a comedian at the age of 16. By 17, I was a regular at the Improv, and I was making beer money.
Yeah.
Doing comedy. And I was around a lot of drunks all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So it really turned me off alcohol. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really have a particular affinity for it. I would have the experience, absolutely, particularly in the UK.
You can't not drink in the UK. It's quite difficult.
But every time it's been like it's been almost ritualistic. It's like, okay, I'm going to do that.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Not like it just happens.
I think that's where I'm at now. I didn't have a drink for 3 months, and now it's like if I go to Ren Fair, I'll have a couple of drinks.
Yeah, if you can do that, great. It was actually. I never wanted to be out of control. Okay. I was fucking writing material all the time. My eyes were darting back and forth. I was.
Yeah, I think a sober comic is always going to be the best comic.
Yeah, and if you're taking it seriously, you can't be fucking, sitting around getting high when you could be going cross town to do another set.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing is that I would end up going home when everybody else did that after.
Yeah.
I just never. I didn't judge it or anything like that. It just wasn't. I was really.
So what
really
was that
focused.
first instance where you went, all right, I'm smoking weed today?
At the age of 40,
Yeah.
I was going through a life crisis
Okay.
experience.
Divorce.
No. Holy shit! I broke you. Oh, wait a minute. There we go.
That's
Sorry.
all right. That's all right.
I get very
before
fiddly.
we start recording, you went, I'll stop touching the mic now. And I went, yeah, that'd be
I
great.
haven't
Because
stopped
otherwise
yet,
I went,
right?
and you've literally the whole time just been going, yeah.
See, this is why I never wanted to do cocaine.
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
like so fidgety. This is me from a blunt.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like so fidgety that
No, you'd be
whenever
a
I saw
fucking nightmare,
cocaine,
yeah.
I was like, that's the last thing. That's what I
don't
need.
think I've
something
ever
to make
met
me a little more anxious.
I've never met anyone who was ever more interesting, fun, or nice on coke.
It's not. It's
And
what is it?
I've seen a lot of people. I've been doing coke with a lot of people.
Crystal meth. That's another one that makes you. That's fucking Hitler used to give that to his troops.
Crystal meth?
Yeah.
What a mad lad.
Yeah, all the fucking pilots were all high on crystal meth.
Well, fucking that would help, right?
Exactly.
Kamikaze bombers
Exactly.
and shit.
I don't know why you want to do that recreationally.
Yeah.
Not my kind of thing.
Yeah, I've never smoked crystal meth. Thank goodness. There's a lot of drugs I've never done, and now all I do is smoke a little weed. That's it. So
So at around the age of 40,
yeah.
I realized that
Well, you said you had a crisis. What was the crisis?
just being 40 and
It was like a midlife crisis, a bit of I'm getting older. And,
it was, yeah, I guess kind of not, but it wasn't really about getting older. That was just the weather around
Okay.
it. But
it wasn't
it
like
was about.
because I got depression, so it wasn't like a kickstart depression.
There was a lot of depression. I'm Zolofted out of my skull right now.
Yeah.
For like the past 18 years.
Okay,
Maybe
what's
more.
Zoloft? That's a medication.
Sertraline. Yes, it's it's an SSRI, antidepressant.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not I look at that. I'll be taking my antidepressant every day. And look at the problem with all these people being medicated all the time. I fucking
No, but if it helps you,
I
to
know it's
to
a
operate,
huge shade of
great.
gray, that universe.
Sure.
Anyhow.
So yeah, so you were going through this little period of a bit of a low period.
Yeah, and but I was also how I got out of it is very interesting, which was coming to the UK and meeting people like yourself.
There you go.
If that doesn't get me something, I mean, a T-shirt, a cup, something, Savage.
No, we have your
Snowflake,
name on a statue now. There's a statue of you in Trafalgar Square. You haven't seen it?
Well, that's a bit much.
There's the Paul Provenza podium, and it just has like.
That would have been so much cooler when it was part of Europe.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I know, God. England's going to be an interesting place to go back to. But you're telling me about when you first smoked weed.
Yeah. So at that time in my life, I realized that what had kept me so focused for so long was now sort of out of balance.
Right.
And it became that I was a bit of a control freak. And I don't mean necessarily in life or in a work situation, although absolutely it emerged. I mean, creatively.
Yeah.
And I was very consciously wanting to break down some barriers and free myself and feel not in control.
Right.
And that's ultimately how I was able to make the Aristocrats,
Yeah.
because I had to completely let go of outcome
Yeah.
and just enjoy the journey and let it tell me what it was going to be,
Yeah.
for better or worse.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
so
obviously,
that's
what came off that was an incredibly successful movie with. I feel like in the comedy industry or any fans of comedy, it has cult status now. This. You had such a lineup of so many incredible.
I know, it was
legends of the industry.
It ended up being, kind of a document, and as it's already been, I think, 16 years.
Yeah.
And the rights are all tied up. That's why it hasn't been a re-release, or why it's not on Netflix or anything like that. So it's in a legal abyss because of the distributor that went. The distributor, Think Film, was purchased by a gentleman who had a history of, and then proceeded to cannibalize the company and run it into the ground and sell off assets.
So how can you can't get back the ownership of this?
Here's the thing. So the this guy, by the way, is in prison right now.
Okay.
For a completely different set of circumstances.
Yeah.
This is who he was. Anyway, the Think film ended up being forced into Chapter 11 by some legal mechanism.
Right.
And the court ordered an auction of the company's assets, which included a library, the rights to approximately 450 films.
Okay.
Among them, a bunch of Oscar winners and things like Short Bus, some Laura Poitras stuff, some a hell of a valuable and important library, right? And then this gentleman, I just forget his name, Bergman, I forget. Anyway, he got a...
What you're trying to say, Paul, is he was a Jewish chap.
That's not what
That's
not what I was trying to say. But if it happens, it
Bergman.
happens. It happens. Goldberg, Iceberg. What's the difference?
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. So fuck that blunt, man. So he got an injunction against the forced auction.
Okay.
So it's in this limbo.
So the films
and it's not moving one way or another.
The films are all just sitting there and they can't, without
Exactly.
proving that you can reclaim some ownership back from the company.
Exactly. It literally is a limbo. Like
that's a shame. Maybe you should reshoot it. See if Netflix would reshoot it as a Netflix original with.
You know what? That's a great idea. When do you start your new job at Netflix?
With another generation of generation of comics.
Actually, there was a company that.
I'm serious. Wouldn't that be a good?
I'm going to tell you the story right now.
That as a pitch is pretty interesting.
Thanks. But a company asked to do that. They wanted to do it as a 10th year anniversary.
Okay.
And we couldn't because the rights are in the ether right now.
But if they're in the ether, then no one's going to be able to sue you for remaking your own film. Does that make sense?
Theoretically.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Who's going to sue you? They'd have to claim legal ownership of the original film.
What I wanted to do
which could free that up.
What I suggested was we make the deal and then we put into escrow.
Yeah, we call it L'Aristocrats.
I like that. Yeah. No, we'll go to this and call it the Aristocrats. And
the Aristocrats. There you go. Yeah.
So put the money in escrow, and then if whoever has a right to claim this comes out of the woodwork, we'll go. You know what? Here it is, right there.
Yeah, there you go.
But from a legal standpoint, that gives you exposure, and I couldn't,
that would expose all your other
nefarious activities.
Exactly.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, they're clearly a cocaine salesman. Clearly importing.
You know what? Legal shit, it destroys your life. Legal shit destroys your life.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how right you are. It doesn't matter how it all comes out in the end.
Have you been on the wrong side of the law before?
In tiny little minuscule ways to just go, you want to stay as far away from this shit as possible.
What have you done? You ever been arrested?
I've never been arrested.
Oh, come on, man. That's like, yeah.
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about the real bullshit. Like,
legal shit.
Yeah, suing
libelous
someone
and all
or
that
being
stuff.
sued or, little things.
Yeah, that's
I've taken people to small claims court.
Well, I had to issue cease and desist to a couple of people, a couple of crazy fucking obsessive girls that were, pretty fucking mental. So that was the most experience I've had with it. But I don't trust. But I've been arrested in this country and locked up in the New York. I got thrown in the Tombs under the New York County.
Get out of town! You were in the Tombs.
Yeah.
No shit, and you lived to tell about it.
I lived to tell a tale. I slept on my peanut butter and jelly sandwich like all the other guys, all the OGs in there. It was interesting.
Wow.
But that's because I was out with two girls and there was a little guy at a bar, but real stocky. And he grabbed one of the girls and she was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "Dude, leave her alone. What are you going to do? I'll knock you the fuck out." And he was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm just a bit high." Then he fucks off. And then 20 minutes later, I feel a tap on my shoulder, turn around, and he smacks me in the face. And so I opened his fucking head up. And then the police arrived. And because he came off a lot worse, they would immediately put me in handcuffs. I was like, "Look at the CCTV. Talk to the bartender. Talk to the witnesses in here, all of whom saw him hit me."
So you were in the Tombs like overnight?
I was in there for 36 hours or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then they released me. They finally got all that evidence, and then they released me. But then they locked my file So now, because I was a victim of a crime, they went decline to prosecute, we're closing the file, but they don't expunge them in New York. So the file was locked. So then I had to get global entry even to get in the fucking country, because every time I flew in, they were like, well, you could be a terrorist, you could be a pedophile, you could be, any of these things could have that file locked. I'm like, oh, how about a victim of a crime? They're like, well, yeah, that once we unlock it, we can see that. But until then, we have to keep pulling you in to Border Patrol to check out. I'm like, fucking cunts.
You better become successful here.
Yeah, man.
Seriously, you paid your dues, man.
Yeah, I fucking hate so much about the bureaucracy of this country, but I love the country and I love a lot of the people.
In spite of the country.
In spite of thinking that everyone who dresses like Larry the Cable Guy is a fucking redneck, you know?
Here's the deal. No, this is a funny story. You'll appreciate this.
I don't think I'm going to say right now, I reckon we won't even finish the story.
We don't finish stories.
We've started 6 different trains of thought so far.
Since I got here an hour ago.
And we have not.
I don't remember liking you this much.
Oh, man, thanks. That's. I mean,
where did we meet? Did we meet in Edinburgh?
We met in Edinburgh. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we met in Edinburgh Fringe Festival maybe quite a few years ago now. It might.
By the way, that's the result of me smoking pot at 40.
What, going to Edinburgh Fringe Festival?
Yeah, in terms of turning a corner and becoming, my journey is, I romanticize it by like, I kind of had my own little George Carlin experience where he went from, this, his was more extreme and almost more literal, but, he went from the skinny tie suit guy, doing the wacky zany,
to being hippie
to
and
becoming George Carlin,
well, I think he became George Carlin in his really final twilight years.
I don't think he'd ever stop being George Carlin. If he were alive now, he'd still be becoming George Carlin.
You're sure? No, yes, okay, I appreciate what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. But what I mean is the version of George Carlin that is in my mind, maybe,
right. Yeah.
is black t-shirt, old man, really knows who he is, not trying to be too divisive to be noticed and be wrong, and not being straight in any way or moderating what he says, but he's just the wise oracle of humor.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what?
That's the George Carlin thing. Yeah.
Doesn't give a fuck what you think.
Yeah, he doesn't, does he? Yeah.
It's awesome. It's great.
Yeah.
There was a little period.
Did you ever have a friendship with George Carlin?
I did for
during Green Room.
Was
he still around for
the last part of his life?
Yeah.
He had been aware of me.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
Which was why when Penn and I started doing the Aristocrats, Penn called Carlin.
Yeah.
Because obviously, there's no question he'd pick up for Penn. And they caught up a bit.
Is this Penn and Teller Penn?
Yes.
Okay.
Penn Jillette. And as soon as George heard the idea, he was like, I'm in. He's like, let me schedule this for about a month from now because I got stuff in notebooks that I want to look at. I've thought about this joke a lot.
Yeah.
And we were like, cha! And
yeah.
And so, from that moment on, we had a bit of a friendship.
Nice.
Yeah. As I said, he knew of me, which I was.
And he was
really
all sober then, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was, yeah.
Because I know he had. I read.
He was dealing with heart problems.
There you go. So he was still on prescription medication. Because I was looking. I read his pseudo autobiography.
Last Words.
Where his the conversations he had with his friend, his author friend who wrote them all.
Tony Hendry.
Yeah. Is that who it was? Tony Hendry. Yeah, it's great. It's a wonderful book.
It's wonderful.
In fact, 2 of my favorite books I've ever read in my entire life is the George Carlin Final Words and Born Standing Up by Steve Martin. They're two of the greatest. And you know what? I just got a copy of. In fact, I had him on as a guest. The author of the Greg Giraldo biography.
Oh, cool! Yeah, I have seen that.
Because I donated money to help get it started, and then wanted to promote it a bit. And I'm excited to read that. I think.
Let me add to your list of. In addition to Last Words, you should read Kelly Carlin's.
His daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called A Carlin Home Companion, growing up with George.
Okay.
And it's her story.
Nice. So you get to witness his.
It's one. I had the good fortune of working with her on developing and directing her solo show.
So she's a comic as well.
No.
Oh. A one-woman show, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She is a storyteller. She's a Jungian psychologist.
Okay.
She practiced for a little while. Her.
Isn't that funny?
Life
that
is very
the child
tumultuous
of
and
a stand-up
interesting.
comic would become a psychologist.
Right?
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, she's great. Anyway, I don't want to. Her book is wonderful, and
it's called Carlin Home Companion.
A Carlin Home Companion.
Okay, yeah. I'll definitely read that. I'll add it to the list. I've got a nice list of books.
You know what else is a great book for comics to read? Gasping for Airtime by Jay Moore.
Okay.
It's the story of his time at Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And there was a particular controversy in that time. I'm going to get this. Don't be
There
my
it is.
dad.
No, it's all right. I'm just watching you just playing with the microphone stand and the wires. Constantly
I'm
worried
good.
that
We're good.
as long as you don't touch
I do have a little
this, so that
OCD,
doesn't
by the
come
way.
out, we're all good. As
I
long
do
as you
have a
don't touch
little
the red button at the front.
OCD, by the way, which the
Yeah, a little bit.
Zoloft,
I know, and I know.
which the Zoloft helps with.
Here we go.
So you can imagine. Again,
there we go.
good thing I didn't do cocaine.
Oh, we got it.
Gasping for Airtime by Jay Moore. It's about his experience writing on Saturday Night Live and performing on Saturday Night Live. And he tells a story in it when he does he does something on the show.
Yeah.
And it turns out that it was a Rick Shapiro bit. And Rick Shapiro contacted Saturday Night Live and Lorne Michaels, and Jay got called on the carpet for it. And he talks about this entire experience, owns everything, his approach to it, but his explanation as to how it happened is fascinating because it's show business.
Yeah. Rick Shapiro, there's a character.
Rick Shapiro.
You still friends with
bless
Rick?
him. Yes, although he,
Is he still friends with you?
Yeah, man.
You
Rick
understand? You understand why I asked that?
Yes, of course.
I saw Rick recently.
I can't
spoke
always
with him.
talk to Rick. I can't. It's hard to understand him. He's a very sick man right now.
Yeah.
And all that sort of stuff. But we're soulmates.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love Rick. I made friends with him at Edinburgh, and we stayed friends. And then, I was friends with him and Tracy. But it's like the last few times I've spoken to him, he's very much like, "Hey man, I miss you, man. I love you," and blah blah blah. All those nice things he says to people. And then as soon as you go, "Hey, what's going on with this thing?" or you're like, asking what's, you're trying to actually genuinely care for his welfare. He can become incredibly aggressive and nasty immediately, and oh man, you're part of the system.
man.
You're fucking it. And I'm like, dude, you gotta chill on that, otherwise you have no one left to care.
No, you don't understand. It's he's not well right now.
I know, I understand.
I
understand that.
The meds are,
know.
depending on where he's at in the med cycle, is kind of a different Rick.
Absolutely,
get,
yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, look, we just saw it out here with with Brody.
But
Stevens,
you know what? That motherfucker is Charles Bukowski.
Yeah.
He's an artist.
Yeah, he is. He really is.
Very particular stripe. And I mean, I have been mesmerized and blown away by Rick.
Me too.
Many times as I've been like, oh my God, how can I help?
I remember, I think I probably saw the last Edinburgh show that he did that was where he was really... He was recovering from the coma he went into.
Right.
But he was... compos mentis, he had a slight stutter, but he could get his sentences out, and he did a really cool 1 hour show, man. It was fucking dope. And there wasn't a lot of people in the audience. It was a very small turnout for the particular show I went to, but it didn't matter. He went fucking through it. Not just metaphorically, like literally pages of concepts and jokes and stuff like being thrown in the air and all over the place, and there's just a pile of paper around him. But it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
man. It's watching a master at work.
And he's a real jazz cat. I mean, it's like, not every performance is the definitive, rendition by a real jazz cat, But
we're
it's
also
like you watch Rick over a period of time, and you start to see really the art is kind of in the just watching this.
Yeah, part of the art is the lunacy of it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's a certain, it's like Daniel Johnston.
I don't know who Daniel Johnston is.
Daniel Johnston is a absolutely brilliant singer-songwriter who suffers from a great, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's something on the autism spectrum.
Okay, yeah.
Further on, whatever.
Oh, he's a stand-up as well.
No. He's a singer. Oh, you got me.
There we go.
And his work is informed by that, which makes it completely unique.
Yeah,
and it's wonderful, and that's Rick, man.
I think he's absolutely brilliant. I do. My only struggle is, and I'm not going to talk about Rick too much. I apologize. I don't.
Fuck Rick Shapiro.
No, I mean we're both in complete agreement that we love him and he's a wonderful man and also an incredibly talented visionary.
In that special way, man. He's like,
Exactly,
really like Bukowski kind of thing. It just fucking snaps out.
But I did have to hit a point, especially once I myself addressed the way that I escape from sadness or depression, or I used to escape from it.
It's not these blunts. These blunts are fucking
well, that's what I'm
good.
saying. It was mostly through drinking and drug taking, and also promiscuity. Fucking around a lot, but any distraction. But having got control and like not drinking now, or when I do, it's once every 3 months, and generally, like, I don't touch any drugs apart from smoking a little weed in the evenings or whatever. I feel in a good place, but I had to look at it and go, all right, there's certain friends I have in my life, certain people in my life who are addicts as well, who have real problems. And my addiction is to escape from the sadness that I felt and escape from that depression. Now that I've implemented some really clever, good, simplistic things like sunshine, regular exercise, a better diet, cutting down.
Oh, you mean
on the
those
drinking.
mysterious secrets?
I know, exactly. I know, but isn't it? They're glaringly obvious secrets until you fucking actually put them into
we live
practice.
in just a sick as fuck society.
Exactly. But until you start benefit from them. But, or medication or something that helps balance you out. Whatever you need to do is...
Whatever you need, man.
No, whatever you need to do is great.
I know, man.
But then what I was saying is that having got to a place where I feel like I have a good control over that, I have to look at people like even Rick, someone who I do care about and love, or someone we were talking about earlier, like Russell Brand, who is an addict and has gone through his 12 steps many, many times. He's not a man who I bear any love for because of my personal dealings with him that have been less than savory, But both those guys, I go, well, there's a reason why they can flip from I care about you and I'm supportive and I'm actually genuinely being a good, heartfelt person to go fuck yourself, I hate you, and if you don't get me, then you're part of the problem kind of attitude. And that's addiction. That's the complete 180 psychologically of an addict, which I realize I don't have that. I don't tell you that I'm your friend and I got your back, but then when I'm fucked up, I go, I fucking hate you, piece of shit. I would never do that. Whereas both those guys have done that in different ways. And with Rick, the only difference is that I still love Rick, even when he does that. But I don't want to encourage that hurt as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Because it hurts more from someone where you think they should be able to empathize with you and understand that you're the same in some ways.
I think it's an important compassion to remember at all times that he's not exactly tethered to the earth.
Yeah. You
kind of got to give him a lot of leeway.
No, you're right. And also, look, you have a few years on me in terms of your wisdom, your experiences. So I imagine you view those things calmer and less. You're less hypersensitive. I'm a very hypersensitive person.
See, Zoloft.
That would kill me caring about anything.
Whatever I do, if I ever do another fucking podcast, if Zoloft doesn't sponsor it, they're crazy.
I mean, I think you could get Zoloft sponsorship. That would be great. Yeah, you could call it the Medicated Podcast or something like that. It's just sponsored by get Zoloft and then get a weed sponsor. And that's it.
SSRI with PP.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
It's really funny.
It is funny. There you go. See, maybe you should start it. You've got a nice voice for it as well.
You're an entrepreneur and a venture capitalist. Why don't you start this for me?
You can record it here if you want, mate. You can just come over here with your friends and I'll click record and then upload it for you.
I can record anywhere. I don't need all this fancy gear.
Oh, all right. Well, then do it yourself, you lazy cunt.
I find knowing all the tools that you have at your disposal to work with that can make your life easier. I feel like it's not
I had to teach myself. Like we said earlier, again, we had a really good conversation before we even started the podcast. But these days, it's not enough. It doesn't matter whether you're... How old are you, actually?
61.
It doesn't matter whether you're 61 or 35 or fucking 21, fresh in the industry. You now have to teach yourself. You're not just a comic anymore. You have to be a producer, a brand manager, a social media PR expert, a writer, a director,
a social
publicist,
media,
a manager.
I don't know what is that industry?
Brand
social
ambassador,
media,
influencer.
Fucking.
Or you have to have a really thick booty and a lot of different thongs.
I got into comedy just to tell a couple jokes and make some people laugh.
It's so hard these days, man.
It's unbelievable.
Do you like comedy now? Do you like how comedy is in the industry of comedy?
This is without a doubt. This is like the Cambrian period of comedy. The Cambrian explosion.
You have to tell me what that means. I don't understand that phrase. The Cambrian.
Okay,
I'm assuming that means something exciting and
Well,
big.
I was hoping that you wouldn't stop me on that and that you'd bluff your way through not knowing that. Nope. I didn't know that.
If I don't understand something or if I don't know a word, I always ask because I think that shows more wisdom than to pretend like I know.
The Cambrian period was a time when suddenly there was an explosion of species.
Oh, wow, okay.
On the planet. I believe.
Okay, that's cool.
I smoke a lot of pot lately, so
you've been watching a lot of Planet Earth and...
Yes, but also I don't...
the Cambrian period.
The Cambrian can be
multiple
a word...
species.
Cambrian might be a word that I heard on a documentary about the Vikings.
From both ocean
and I moved it over to this
and
planet
tundra.
Thing.
I like how I let you just carry on talking whilst I just carried on doing my character over the top of each other. And you know what? Someone's going to take that 10 seconds clip.
I thought to myself, fuck cooking more, man. This is it right here. This is right here. This is what they did.
Yeah.
Except we're not that good.
Oh, wait. So, are we talking about what's it called?
Peter Cook and
Dudley Moore.
Yeah.
What was it? No, what was
Derek
the album
Clive.
called? Derek and Clive.
Derek and Clive.
Dude, I've been looking for someone to do a Derek and Clive-esque piece. Who can do lots of voices, lots of characters, and improvise. Are you into that?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
I would absolutely...
An homage to Derek and Clive?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
What
we just get high, and then we just improvise little skits and scenes.
I'm sorry.
How good are your voices?
No, this is a job for Rick Overton.
Who's Rick Overton?
Oh, my fucking God.
No, he's a comic, right?
Oh my God!
All right, hey, I'm acknowledging that I don't know everyone out
I'm not
here
criticizing you.
On it.
I'm not criticizing
but he's
you.
a big talent I should know about.
Rick is one of the most incredible comic minds I've ever known. I'm not alone in feeling that. But he's never gotten traction either.
Okay.
He's never quite.
I know the name.
Thing.
I certainly know his name, but I'm not.
I don't. When I say never gotten
sure
traction,
it's painted on the wall at the Comedy Store.
When
right?
I say never gotten traction, what I mean is, that's why he's not,
setting out Madison
Steve
Square
Martin,
right?
Yeah. But I mean, you would recognize him immediately because he does character acting in a million movies.
Okay.
He's in a million movies. He's in Groundhog Day. A couple of really beautiful scenes in Groundhog Day. But his stand-up is absolutely extraordinary. He's an amazing, inventive, unpredictable.
Yeah, nice chap. I recognize his face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, he's been around for a while, right?
Rick is the Fort Knox of comedy.
Jesus, yeah, he's been doing stuff for a while. He's one of those, those actors.
There's nothing he can't do.
You know those actors in Hollywood that you look at their IMDb page and you sort of, know them from, you go, God, what were they in? I've seen them in about 4 or 5 movies. And you look at their IMDb page and it's like 700 films. And they've been in everything as Rick, the flight control tower controller.
Right.
Or angry man on the bus or, bouncer at the club or whatever, and it's like they've always had speaking parts. They're always a smaller character, supporting character, but they're in everything. He looks like one of those guys. Yeah, that's dope. All right, okay.
Yeah, he's great.
So you don't want to do it?
We just did a pilot recently. A friend of ours, Mark Riccadonna.
Is this the project you were telling me about before? You said you got a project on right now.
No. But we went and shot this pilot. It's about these two formerly successful shock jocks.
Okay.
Trying to come back, after having been ostracized and having to come back and compete in that world and they get
Opie
into the
and
world
Anthony.
they get in the world of podcasting and all, but they're like, their ideas of what's edgy are really
outdated.
So we did it together, and we got within the script, we had a chance to improvise pages and pages and stuff, and it was just like really, I'm getting down in the playground with this, in the sandbox. It's fun, and it just, you realize, you go like, holy shit, I'm like really proud of about 6 things I just did there.
Yeah,
and they're all because of Rick.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
He leads you into it nicely.
Oh my God, he just gives you the most fertile territory and
he's a setup guy.
And there's nothing you can do that he can't pick up and run with. So you can't fuck up.
So is he an improv guy? That was his background, was it?
He was Robin Williams' favorite improv partner.
Oh, fuck me. Wow.
They used to get up on stage all the time together.
Robin Williams, that's sad as well. There's been so many fucking legends. lately. But then that's how it is. Every year is going to be more people dying, right? It's the only guarantee we have. We're all going to die, Paul.
We'll be back with more right after this from Zoloft.
Make sure you check out Boundless Tech. Smoke some weed. You might be happier than me. Shave your balls.
Totally should get Zoloft to sponsor a fucking podcast.
Yeah.
I bet I could talk that Shkreli guy into it.
Zolofty opinions.
Oh my God, that's genius.
Thanks.
Holy shit, where did you come up with this talent?
There you go.
I was very shocked to find out today that you were a successful television presenter before you started doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah. And then I gave it up to go and do stand-up. And then I also sort of moved away from TV to support my then girlfriend in her stand-up career and to help out more because she was a single mother, who's now Catherine Ryan. She's Catherine Ryan, who's incredibly successful in the UK.
I know. I was at a 9/11. I was at a 9/11 party at her home with Wade.
Oh wow, long time ago. Wow. Yeah. Well, Wade's a fucking.
Cake and
he's
everything.
a creepy.
It was really dark.
Her ex-husband was a creepy fuck, and he's a questionable guy. He's morally and ethically, I don't like who he is.
Wow. See now, I'm checking out of this conversation.
Okay, you're friends, still friends.
I don't know, but
that's okay.
Feel free to talk. This is all information to me.
Well, I mean, he was the kind of guy who set up businesses. Small businesses to pay himself a wage through these small businesses and then would close those small businesses. So when he had to declare taxes, he would show that he didn't earn much. So then he wouldn't have to pay any child support.
So
this is all what my ex told me, what Catherine told me about him.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
This is presidential material, my friend.
Yeah.
This guy could run the country.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I know. He's a businessman. Huge opportunities. And then Catherine turned out to be a lunatic as well, because she told me when we were together, if we ever broke up, I would have to make you the most hated man in the world so that I could get over you because I love you so much. I was like, that's funny, thinking she was joking. And then when we broke up, she just tried to ruin my career in England. She went after me. She did some tabloid news article and said, I just told him some stand-up material. It wasn't even about you. It was about Wade. I'm like, it has a photo of me holding your child on a red carpet event. And then it says, comedian Catherine Ryan. It was called Comic 2 Timing. It was all like bullshit. So she, made these stand-up stories. They printed it as like a tabloid piece. And then after that, she just tried to make me the most hated man. So she shit talks me to everyone who'll listen. She got new breasts. I found out recently. Someone said, have you ever seen this? And there's a little video where she says that she got new implants after we broke up. So that I would never have seen her new tits. Isn't that mental? Isn't that like certifiably fucking insane? I'm going to get a new set of breast implants so that my ex-partner has never seen my new silicone titties.
This is like if you
Isn't that crazy?
This in a script. If you wrote this in a script,
you'd be like, nah, that's too far-fetched.
Or it'd be the greatest thing in the world. It's like an Arrested Development storyline.
It's fucking mental. And anyway, so a friend sent me the clip and was like, "This is I can see she's clearly over you, dude." But it's funny because I look at it and I go, "Wow, that's the only thing that came out of that relationship that was very sad." I'm gonna just spin that so we can definitely hear you. The only thing that was the saddest part of that, but also the best part of the relationship, was the relationship with her daughter. Like her daughter.
Right.
I won't say her name. I don't want anyone to have a name. But
you got to say that.
I don't have to say, man, fuck, I love that kid. I know you're jesting.
No, I just laughing. I love cynicism.
Yeah, I love that little kid so with all my heart. But that was the only thing. But apart from that, fucking nuts, man. Imagine getting a dick job. Imagine getting an extra inch put on. So
I guess you haven't watched The Fix on
Netflix. No, I haven't. No,
I have.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, it is unwatchable.
It's unwatchable. What is The Fix? That's one of those, like The View, isn't it? One of those chat shows?
It's a bizarre game show, panel show. It's very English. I mean, it's very hack British.
Oh, but she's on it,
show.
Is she?
Yes.
She's on everything. She's on every TV show. And you know what? I am genuinely happy for her success because, A, it was something that she and I worked very hard on when we were together, and I put in as much time helping her and all of the talent is hers, obviously, but it's helpful and supportive when you've got someone being a stay-at-home dad. And then she also, that money goes to her daughter, so I'm happy that she's successful. I hope that she's... But I also just think she's just a cunt. Just a horrendous cunt.
Well, that's never held anybody back in show business.
No. Tim Dillon put a tweet, which, by the way, I want everyone to know about this tweet, because I think it's one of the funniest jokes that I've seen in a long time. And he's so vastly underrated, Tim Dillon. He should be infinitely more successful.
I'm unfamiliar.
Okay, here we go. We're sharing people today. So you're teaching me about some comics I have to look up. Tim Dillon, now I'm trying to find the tweet. He basically went, I want to read it exactly because I think it would do it better justice. And I just retweeted it. He's such a funny guy. He's very acerbic. He's very divisive in lots of ways, but he's clever and he's funny. And here it is. It was very simple. One of the best ways to fail across the board, parentheses, personally and professionally, close parentheses, is to be yourself. One of the best ways to fail across the board is to be yourself. Uh-huh. And I think that's hilarious, and I think it's also fucking so true. Like, I think...
It's hilarious and also what?
So true.
Yeah.
Like, the more that I reveal... I'm dating a girl right now who I'm very much falling in love with. But by being so myself, I'm constantly terrified that I'm going to fuck it up. By being so, like, open about my feelings, I'm like, all right, just... chill out, man. It's been 6 months. Rein it in, or 5 months. Rein it back a little bit. Just chill out. And it's the same thing. That's personally, and also personally, when I talk to people in business, very honestly about what I actually think and what I'd actually like to see happen or whatever. 9 times out of 10, people will immediately that will go against you in your career because they'll be like, "Yeah, we don't want you to be honest. We want you to just smile and go, that sounds great." Yeah. That's Hollywood.
Sure.
I can't do that fucking shit. I can't pretend.
Do you think there are people who are doing that, but that's who they are? Like, it's not really a conflict?
Just being like, yeah, great.
Yeah, but no. I mean, being sincerely that kind of person.
That overtly positive.
And uplifting.
I think those people exist. I think they're few and far between. I think for every one person like that in Hollywood, there's 100 that are going, yeah, great, cool, because they just are desperate. So desperate for success.
I was having a conversation with Drew Carey.
Okay.
And
such a name dropper.
You know what? I was thinking, it's awesome because...
when me and Robin Williams were having lunch one day, Drew Carey rocks up. Yeah, and then old Jerry signed to the Fifi turns up in his new Lamborghini.
Yeah. Is that a problem?
No. I'm just giving you shit. I wish Drew Carey and I were having a conversation the other day.
Drew's he's a lovely guy. He's a lovely guy. He would have this conversation. He would love it.
Yeah.
We flew him into London to shoot Set List.
Okay, nice.
I mean, like he comes and does Set List all the time, which is a really, it's a ballsy and fucking
that's very cool.
hangout thing to do. He's a cool cat.
But he loves doing stand-up, doesn't he?
He loves what?
He loves performing, doesn't he? Still.
Yeah, he loves doing stand-up.
Yeah.
But I made a joke about him hosting The Price is Right,
okay.
And he said, I got to tell you something. I go, he goes, it's the greatest job in the world. He goes, it's the greatest job in the world. He said, I do nothing all day but make people incredibly happy.
Yeah.
He goes, all I do is give people things
money and
to
prizes.
to make their lives better.
Crack a few jokes, which he can do backwards with his hands tied behind his back,
Exactly. Yeah. And he's like, I can't think of a better way to spend, however many hours.
Pretty sure he gets a pretty good paycheck at the end of each month.
I'm sure he does too.
Yeah.
But, it never dawned on me that perspective even existed. Like, oh yeah, you can really be sincerely, genuinely
uplifting.
It's kind of
it's easy to be uplifting.
It's kind of like
though.
Jerry Seinfeld. Like Jerry Seinfeld, you know how
but he's honest, brutally honest.
Exactly.
I think,
that's what I'm saying. Is that Jerry? There are some people who say that Jerry doesn't reveal very much about himself. That he's very and that's true about himself as a human being.
Sure.
Jerry's just
he's a little more of a private individual.
He's very private. He's very he doesn't get emotional about a lot of things.
Yeah.
He's.
Paul, you're describing the complete polar opposite of every one of my personality traits right now. So you're saying he does everything right, which is why he's incredibly successful.
But that's exactly who he is. He's
Yeah.
being 100% authentic.
Do you think it's all right? Well, here,
And I don't think it's critical, because I think it's I
I
actually
was
don't.
going to say, do you think it's possible to be that level of successful whilst also being incredibly emotionally vulnerable, open, honest, talking a lot quite publicly about your private life? Does that limit your possibilities for success, do you think, in this day and age?
That's a really interesting question. I don't know. That's an interesting question, because it seems to be that all the personal drama seems to just catapult people professionally.
These days, yeah.
So I don't know.
But do they have longevity?
You know what?
Longevity
We were talking
of
about
success?
this, gaining traction and reaching certain points in a career, and,
Sure.
or not, and all those kinds of things around that. And I feel like, man, I dodged a bullet never getting, fame, never becoming like somebody that so many people are interested in. Because that would be hell on earth to me right now.
Well, first of all, you have a level
life.
of fame. It's all sliding, though. It's all relative in terms of your fame compared to Jerry Seinfeld is going to be very different. But then, you have some status. You have a public profile, and you have that as a
I'm saying, like,
TV,
I'm saying, like, if you in terms of like a network or a studio going down casting lists, going, get Jamie Foxx, get Jerry Seinfeld, get Larry David, get Ricky Gervais, get Paul Provenza. Not happening. Also, by the way, get me Jeff Leach. Not happening either.
No, it isn't happening. No, not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
It's just
But
the reality.
that's because of time, though, I think.
Okay, whatever little puppet show you need.
You don't think I'm going to make it in America?
I don't think anybody's going to make it.
I do. Here's the thing. I think I look at it like I go. I have started to more and more. Maybe this is I'm 35 now, so it's maybe from my 30s onwards. I will set myself annual goals that I think are realistic, and then I look back at what I actually achieved over that year, in a very objective manner.
Sure, yeah.
And I look at it and I go like, all right, well, I feel pretty good about America so far. I feel like 2 years in New York, getting myself established at all the best clubs, and feeling great, and getting management and agents, and then coming to LA and the thing I've achieved over the year. I feel pretty good about it. I think I'll have that, but it's going to be a different type of success than I originally envisaged for myself. That's what my next question was going to be. 24, and I'd be handsome leading man in movies,
right.
and everyone would have posters of me with my shirt off in their bedroom and be jerking off over them. Now,
well, you're very specific.
Now, I mean, there's a particular demographic of big hairy gay men and stay-at-home mums.
That's fucking. Let me tell you that's the silent majority.
Yeah. I mean, the pink pound and the mum's money. I'll take all of that. But yeah, there's a very specific, group of people who like me, and aesthetically at least. And I realized
Andy Kindler's joke about that. I realized my demographic is people who are me.
There you go. People who are me, just me. And then also, but what I'm looking at is going. But I know I will have the level of success I wanted to achieve, but it's going to be as a guy in his late 30s. Right. That's all right. It'll be more of a Clooney story than it would be.
But what do you define?
Robert Pattinson.
What do you define?
Success. Success for me will be to have financial freedom because of this. Because of the level of reverence I've achieved in my own creative career, to be able to pick and choose the kind of creative projects I want to do and not have to worry about paying my rent or looking after a family.
Does that have a specific number?
Hey, I would like to think once I own a small home, and I own it outright, a couple of $100,000, buy a little place in the valley somewhere, that's success, and if I'm then never having to worry about how I buy food for the house or pay the bills because I'm doing enough comedy and TV and film that pays for that, then I'm successful.
Well, didn't you have that in England?
I don't. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So that wasn't success?
It was success. Yeah, I had success in England. But
so now it's just greed?
Now it's just greed? No. It was a mixture of a few things. It was mental health, a little bit, and then it was what's it called? It's fucking insecurities that make me need to be validated by more people. So it's size of reach.
Right.
It wasn't enough for me to
sell
out like a 500-seat theatre in England.
But you're ascribing that to
I want to sell out Madison Square Gardens, and I want millions of people to watch my stand-up specials. But that's because I'm incredibly competitive with myself within what I want to achieve in terms of achievements. It's not about having a private jet or a mansion. Never was, never will be. As long as I got a home that I can raise a family in, I'm fucking set. But I do want to be able to. I want to be successful enough or revered enough that I can go, hey,
that it's not a struggle.
I'm writing a new hour of material that I want to tour around. Hey, can we make a tour happen? And people, I sell out, whatever, 1,000, 2,000 seat theaters all over the country. And I want to be able to be successful enough as an actor where I get given scripts to read to see if I would like to play the character.
Do you have any sort of manifesto in your work?
In terms of what? A personal ideology that I'm trying to...
a certain...
empathy.
Empathy. What you aspire to.
Empathy. Like, I think a lot of my material, whether it's reducing an immigrant's inability to vote in the midterm elections to being the husband in cuckold pornography, hoping enough black guys show up to swing things in his favor. That, like, whether it's that joke, which is effectively a political joke framed as a bit about sex, as a metaphor, or it's something that's a lot more personal about, raising someone's child just to be told you can't see that child anymore because she doesn't biologically belong to you. Both of those stories, and most of my material, is about trying to get an audience to empathize with who I am by revealing so much of myself, and vice versa, showing each other that it doesn't matter if you're a right wing or a left wing or black or white or gay or straight. The more you talk about your similarities, the more you empathize about a human connection.
And this is a conscious.
I think that's the drive of most of what I do.
Base note of everything that
this podcast, man. This podcast. I know you listened to the Neil Brennan episode, but I'm assuming you might not have listened to many others outside of that.
I couldn't.
No, it's okay. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm kidding.
No. But
because I literally just only got time to
listen to one on the drive over here, for instance, or something like that.
I listened to it early this morning when I got up and had my morning coffee.
Well, I appreciate that. But what I was saying is, if you listen to quite a few of them, you'll get a sense.
I'll see that as a through line.
I reveal a huge amount of myself.
Well, this is what we were talking about before. Is one of the things that I tried to do with the green room was create some authenticity.
That program was successful because of that authenticity, I think.
Thank you. That was a big aspect of it. It went through every decision. Like when we had we were talking about a set.
I'm going to say, just for the viewers who want to watch it, because you said it was about 7 years ago it stopped airing, right? Or it started airing 7 years ago.
I forget.
And it was the format would be Paul almost acting like as a moderator, but also the comedian host. But you would almost moderate, throwing some questions out about comedy, about the industry, about the relationships, about development of material and childhood issues. And
actually, very little of it was actually about, the inside baseball of comedy. It went into all aspects of life.
Okay.
All aspects of life, mental health, politics.
So you would be the orchestrator of the leading and guiding the conversation, but you would have four or five. Was it five?
This.
Five every.
Usually 4 or 5.
And we're talking like the biggest comics in the world sitting around.
Yeah, it was really an honor to have all these people.
I love the Bill Burr when one of the clips that was one of my favorite is Bill Burr, going off about and talking about.
That's the one with Andy Kaufman on it. With Tony Clifton on it.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And where he talks about, and he's talking about, I think he's talking about different words like, hey, stop being a faggot. You know what I mean? He's talking about that word.
Right.
And how he goes, well, it doesn't mean gay. It doesn't mean a gay mate. It's just like, stop being a faggot. Like, and it's
like Carlin used to do that bit. I think he quotes the Carlin bit.
Yeah,
it's like a faggot was a guy who wouldn't go downtown to beat up queers.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. But it was these very honest conversations and a lot of conflict of opinions.
Yeah.
Which was great to watch.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it was fun, and it was really like a chemistry set. It was like a comedy chemistry set.
Did anyone ever really, really, really fall out on that program because of the conversation and the way that it went?
I heard only recently that I guess Kumail somebody had tweeted him something about his episode or whatever, and said something about like, what happened with you and Richard Lewis.
Okay.
And
who was this?
Richard Lewis.
And who?
Kumail Nanjiani.
Okay.
And Kumail tweeted, other than, Richard Lewis was a dick to me, it was great, or something like that. I was like, he was
genuinely bothered by it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually went back and watched the episode, and I don't know. I don't.
Could you tell on the rewatch that he was genuinely feeling like, fuck, man?
No, I actually think that it was one of those kinds of conversations. There was a playfulness to Richard Lewis that somehow Kumail took offense to, which I was not aware of, and I didn't really see it.
Yeah.
So, but it was just fun to put shows together. Like,
well, you've done that with, obviously with Green Room, with Set List, and you are putting together the movie, the Aristocrats. These are all. Do you like being a composer, as it were, rather than the lead soloist?
Yeah. Here's the thing: is that we were kind of talking about this before, which we've made reference to that like a million times. Everybody's going like, "Why didn't they fucking shut tape before?"
That's all right. That's for the. If you become a patron of the podcast, you may or may not. You can just hold it like.
Please,
like
somebody give this guy like $30 to get one of these that doesn't come apart when you just move it a little.
You could hold it like Freddie Mercury used to hold his microphone. That'd be it'd be tiring, but it would look cool as fuck.
It would. You're right.
But yeah, maybe you'll get an extra a DLC, an extra bit of the podcast. Or maybe the whole thing was recorded. It wasn't. But it could have been, and you don't know unless you become a patron. It wasn't. But you never know. So donate.
How many people listen to this?
Well, I mean, we've had 30, I think it's almost up to 32 or 33,000 unique listeners over the course of the podcast. I would say hardcore listeners that tune into every single episode without fail, 500 to 1,000. But then people who, some of the episodes have got like 15,000 listens. So it depends on who the guest is.
I got to be honest.
And what the content is.
I got to be honest. I stopped listening.
You already stopped listening.
Yeah.
To me or to the episodes in general?
No, to you just now in this conversation.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to listen to more episodes.
Yeah, it's pretty boring.
There's a lot of names that I didn't recognize.
If I check the numbers, then well, it started off with a slower gradient, but over the last 3 months has been quite an exponential
Have you had
rise.
Paul Foote on the podcast?
No, but I've done shows with Paul Foote. Yeah, used to do a lot of shows with him.
Yeah,
back in the
amazing.
UK. I think Paul Foote's hilarious. He's did we do a TV show together? I think we might have been on an ITV2 show together. I seem to remember him being on it with me. Yeah, Fake Reaction.
He is he's a mathematician, right?
He's incredibly bright. Yeah,
no, I mean he taught mathematics.
Oh, I don't know that. Yeah,
maths.
He taught maths, did he, at school? He was a teacher.
I think so. Yeah.
But he also has that. I don't understand how he could be a teacher because he has that that ailment, that mental ailment where you have trouble remembering people's faces. So you'll know facts about things, but to the point where he doesn't recognize, his own mother sometimes, unless he now knows, all right, well, this is the reason.
Oh boy, sometimes that'd be a blessing.
Yeah, can you imagine? You didn't know someone you hated. You
I'm
fucking
sorry,
loathe
who are you?
someone. But he does have senses of how he feels about people, but he just doesn't recognize their face. As soon as I go,
that just means
Jeff, he goes, "Oh, Jeff Leach, yeah, comedian, blah blah blah." I'm friends with him. But if I walked down the street and I sort of went, Paul, and I was at a distance, he'd have to wait until I get really close, and he goes, "Oh, leather jacket, skinny jeans, long hair." Oh, it's probably Jeff Leach. That's how I know his.
Right.
He would, yeah. So he's a bit fucking mental. I think all genii are, aren't they?
He's so funny. He's
very funny
so
guy.
funny, and he can get on these trains that go for like so long, and at some point, at several different points during the journey, you're like, this ain't going anywhere that feels like it's going to be worth it, and it fucking is.
Yeah, and then the end is always a bit of a. You love kicking stuff. You're all right. Be careful. You're kicking. That's very expensive equipment now.
Let me get some water.
You get some water. I've got cold water in the fridge. Filtered. We're actually at an hour right now, Paul. This is normally where I'd wrap it up, but I'm gonna have to wait until you come back.
Is this water?
That is water. It's filtered, but it's warm. That's all right. We'll just this is how we're gonna eke out this episode of the podcast: a slow crash and burn, and then a little sip and a refreshed nature. And he's back in.
I haven't even told you about the project that I'm working on.
Why don't you tell me about it? Why don't we talk about your projects right now and what's going on, so that we can wrap it up on something creative about you.
Okay, I'm still trying to sell here in the American territory a series of Set List.
Okay.
Which, the live show. You've done it, right?
Never done it, man. I asked to come on it so many times, but you just ignored my pleas and requests.
You know what? I'm not sure if it's on a regular schedule.
Matt Kirshen does it out here for you, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he was involved with the TV production. We did 14 episodes of it. half hours.
I've never done it, but I would excel at it.
For British television.
Yeah.
And they've never aired here in America. They've aired in Australia.
Okay.
And
So try and get some distribution
really
for it out here.
Paul Foote's on it. Robin Williams is on it.
Yeah.
Rick Overton's on it. Matt Kirshen, Eddie Pepitone.
Yeah, never heard of any of them. Yeah.
Drew Carey. Kumail Nanjiani.
What?
Greg Proops. I mean, like,
he would have killed it. Yeah,
it's great. It's great. We're really, really proud of it. So I'm still trying to get a deal on that.
Okay.
And by trying to get a deal on that, what I mean is saying it here so that on the off chance that somebody that listens to you will go, I happen to have a network.
Yeah.
Or I happen to be a guy at Netflix.
Maybe you should hit up the company that I told you about that buy and sell programs from Britain and resell them out here for American networks. I'll hook you up.
Who are those people?
I'll put you in touch with them. Anyway, so there's that. But you have a project right now, don't you?
Yes, I'm working on another documentary that I've been working on for years.
Jeff Leach, The True Story.
Jeff Leach.
The True Story of Rock and Roll.
Ambition Unleashed.
Yeah.
It's...
Sex Slave Unleashed.
Are you familiar with a comedian named Andy Andrist?
Andy Andrist.
Andy Andrist.
No, who's that?
Andy Andrist is a comedian. He is Doug Stanhope's best friend.
Okay.
Basically. Andy, with Doug's help, tracked down, confronted on camera Andy's childhood molester.
Oh, fucking, that's all right. That's pretty full on.
And I am doing this movie. Almost all the footage was shot before I came on board.
Sure.
And I shot a few interviews here and there afterwards, but for the most part, it's kind of like working with.
It's his original footage. Is he still around, Andy?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought
He's
we
still
were almost
around
talking
going,
like...
how many years is it that it takes to cut a movie?
No, sure. I didn't know if it was like a project you started together and he passed away, because you made it sound like we've got a hold of this footage now that we can...
I knew that he was going to do this. He talked about this for quite some time. It's some of the things he wanted to do.
Okay.
And the one that really hooked me in was kind of funny. It was kind of like, he goes, I know where he lives, and if I get in the gated community, but he was like, he wanted to like do like a comedy Cape Fear, and where he's just like, he comes out and he's on the neighbor's lawn, shirtless, on a workout bench, just lifting his, hey, how you doing? He's online behind him at Starbucks, and he just wanted to kind of like stalk him.
Yeah. and then you realize the legal implications of all of that, and we're like,
no, it has nothing to do with that. It just went a lot of different ways.
Okay.
But so that hooked me in. I was like, oh, this is a really, really funny and poignant story and interesting. And I've known Andy for a long, long time as well.
He's a U.S. comic.
Yeah. And he lives in Oregon. And so as I started to, get into this more and more and more and interview his family and what have you, the backstory to this.
Have you got a working title for it yet?
Oh, I got a bunch of working titles.
What about Hi, you touched me?
Okay, I'll put that in the hopper. Sure.
And it could be like almost, you think it means to touch me here,
yeah,
but it doesn't.
Well, we were thinking of a touching story.
A touching story. I like that. That's cool.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
And it really is an interesting story because here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have to take your word for it. The concept of being fucking assaulted as a child.
This, to me,
I get what you're saying,
creatively is like, climbing comedy Mount Everest.
Oh, it's going to draw a huge amount of press very rapidly as well. And if it's well made, which I assume it will be, having watched other projects you've made, it's going to be, it's going to be engaging and very visceral. And
I feel really... I just got on the wave. I just was like, I've been sitting on this footage for like 5 years, 6 years. And only in the last year or so.
Well, look at Leaving Neverland and, the R. Kelly stories, kind of the concept of, apprehending and confronting your abusers.
Yeah. And
I hate to say that's a genre that's popular now, but it's certainly, people want those real raw stories and they want to see that.
So you can see that as somebody who's like, what can I do in the art of comedy, in the world of the art of comedy? What can I do that would be a singular or approaching a singular accomplishment? And that's why I'm not doing that much stand-up anymore these days.
Yeah.
Because this was a conversation we started before, and it's because I at some point I felt like, I didn't want to have to deal with that, introducing myself to the audience every night,
Sure.
all that sort of stuff. And I'm just, I've been around the world doing this. I've had an unbelievably eclectic and bizarre set of experiences doing this thing that saved my life as a kid.
Yeah.
But for some reason, whether it's some failing in myself or some talent that I don't have, or whatever the reasons are, who knows? I feel like I can't have any uniqueness as a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's nothing. I'm not gifted enough to be that person that is going to blow me away when I was 15.
Okay.
But doing some of this other stuff,
I disagree, because I've seen you just stand up and you're incredibly funny. But I also understand what you're saying, that if that's how you feel about your material, then yeah, you're.
But I feel like the green room. We talked about this as well. Is I feel like the green room. If you gave 1,000 comedians the opportunity to do that show, you get 1,000 different iterations of it.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I'm surprised it was an ongoing project. I don't understand why that wouldn't be something they could just go, oh, well, this is a returnable format, so cheap to shoot, so easy to do.
I agree.
And just keep rolling great comics through there.
I agree. And, back in the day, which is what we're talking like 7-8 years ago, I think we said, it really was just like a sort of high-end podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, group dynamic, yeah.
So, although there is a filmmaking aspect to it,
sure,
because we would shoot for an hour and 15 minutes, and
to make a 22 minute
to make a 28 to 30 minute episode.
Sure.
So the way, again, sort of maintain the authenticity of it is like each half-hour episode is a film of what I want you to know about. It's like when you tell somebody a story, you don't tell them every little fucking detail.
Sure.
You only tell them the things they need to get the story, to get the point of what you're trying to make.
Yeah.
And that's the way we edited it.
And you added in a sex scene.
Yeah.
A bit of social, social awareness nowadays.
Some
have
product placement.
There you go. Get make a lesbian chick the lead.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah, why not?
I am a strong black lesbian woman.
I wish I was. I'd kill it right now. Unfortunately.
So your mission.
I'm not strong. I've got everything else down. I'm a very versatile actor, but I'm not. I'm just not strong.
So your mission in striving for all these different levels of success to which you aspire.
Yeah.
Your mission.
You keep playing footsie with me, Paul.
Is that you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought it was the chair.
I keep moving backwards and backwards and backwards, and every time. You're intimidating.
So that's a no then?
I mean, it's a maybe, but you're coming on a bit strong, bro.
I thought you were not as weak.
There you go. I just said I'm not strong. I said I'm infinitely weak.
Yeah, so it's like, sounds to me that your ambition, you have like some Game of Thrones ambition here.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna play. I want to play a. Oh, my next one is already here. I want to play a.
You're like a hairdresser.
A supervillain.
No, I
want to play a
life?
supervillain. Yeah,
in
yeah,
life?
yeah. Not in life, no. No, I'm gonna play a supervillain. I'll be a hero once the something presents itself to me. I got an offer for a 5-year contract at the end of last year to play a sitcom dad, a vampire in a sitcom for Nickelodeon, but we turned it down. So I'm getting offers because it was 5 years and everything I wrote for 5 years. I had first refusal, and if I couldn't be a regular in any other series, and I couldn't be on any other children's network. I was tied in for this. It was a very restrictive contract, which would appeal to a youngster. I think it's great, but for me at 35, I was like, no, I don't want to be 40 and come out of doing 5 years of that. No. So, but it's okay. It's good. These are all good things. If things like that are happening, then you but you're not the first person to say, are you fucking retarded? Why would you turn that down? You're not the first person to say it.
I didn't say that.
Well, I know, but that's what you sort of suggested.
You know what?
I've got to let in my next.
You
guest
absolutely
as well,
know
Paul.
nothing about me because it's quite the antithesis.
Why would you turn that down? I'm like, well, I guess because it wasn't the right thing. That's why.
That's fine.
I would like us to have another conversation. because I have to wrap it now because I got to do another episode with my guest who's standing outside, who I haven't even told.
I have a life that doesn't involve you. Don't you worry, my friend.
But why don't we?
Who's coming up?
Why don't we? Actually, it's Chad Zummock is coming in.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's a newer comic, but he's got a bit of beef with Patton Oswalt online.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yeah, so he wanted to talk about it. But we're gonna wrap it. So why don't we do a part 2 sometime soon?
Yeah, I'm out of town.
You busy? Yeah, you're washing your hair.
Busy, yeah.
You're trimming. Busy.
No, I'm working
trimming
on this documentary. So yeah, we can do this anytime. Let's figure it out.
I'd love to know, and it could be great because we could touch back and see how the documentary is progressing.
I think you should save the half of this blunt that we
for when we
yet.
come back.
Yes,
all right, I'm in. Yeah, I'll do that. It might be a bit crispy when you come back.
Has a continuous vibe.
Yeah, I like that.
All right.
But thank you so much for talking to me, Paul Provenza. If people want to check out all of your stuff, they can either find you online, they can check out Setlist, they can check out the Aristocrats, his movie, which is available online. You can watch all of the episodes of Green Room.
Yeah, and
they're all available online now.
The movie's coming out as soon as I get home.
Oh, don't be sad. Look, you look annoyed about it now.
I'm sad because I was having fun.
I'm still having fun as well, but we're going to have more fun when you come back and do part 2.
Chad Zummock's fucking childish beef on Twitter. Let's hear about a Twitter beef.
It really is a juxtaposition, and you're not wrong. I can't even argue with you. I love you, Paul Provenza. Thank you very much, mate. I love you guys. See you next time.